So I've been wondering, where were you last night? I waited by the phone, and you didn't even bother to call, or... Oh, what? It's the silent treatment now? Is that what it is? Say something! This guy doesn't have very much to say, but his name is Asaro Head, and you can order it online. This thing is basically the planes of the head, and I love drawing from it. There's a lot of confusion about the head versus the face. As far as drawing is concerned, those are two different things. Here's what I'm going to show you. This is my head. This huge object here. This thing. This round shape here. This jaw-like structure here. These two things make up the head. This is my face. My face lives on the bottom 2/3 of my head. It's actually even lower than that, but roughly the bottom 2/3. A lot of people get this confused. You have to draw your head right before you put on a face. So we're gonna have two different videos regarding that. Okay, so first let's talk about supplies. I'm using a Strathmore gray tint paper. I love this tone paper. It's a 400 series, very smooth, and it takes pencil well. It can also tolerate a lot of erasing. Love this kind of paper. We sell it here at the studio. It's also sold on Amazon and other stores around. You'll find it pretty easily. I'm also going to be using a General Pencil number 2 pencil. This is basically your standardized pencil. Any number 2 or any HB will suffice. And lastly, I'm going to be using a Peel Off Magic Rub Eraser. I've heard that these things are discontinued, but I'm sure you can find something similar to it, whether it's the clicky ones or another form of a peel eraser. Basically, it's just a white eraser that's wrapped up in paper. Okay, so in drawing the head, we're gonna start with just a simple ball. And then what we're gonna do is divide this ball right in half. Notice that I use multiple lines until I get a ball that looks right to me. So I'm gonna erase this part. There we are. And then I'm gonna use my pencil to divide in half this space right here. Yeah, I think that's a clean half right there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to slice it again in half right here. And this line will eventually be my eyebrows. My next step is to slice off the sides of the ball. The reason why we're doing this is because this is literally where the head turns. There's a space on our heads where there's a front plane and a side plane, and this literally becomes your side plane. From there, as if to draw a box, I'm gonna go right across. This will become our nose, right here. Having drawn that, I'm gonna drop down into the chin. The chin is exactly the same distance from the bottom of the nose to the brow, so all you simply do is double that distance. 1, 2. That tells me that my chin is right here. So let's double check our measurements. You'll notice that I marked off the top. So here are the proportions of the face when it's looking directly at you. Chin to nose is 1/3. Nose to brow is 2/3. Brow to hairline is 3/3. You can see how your face lives on this bottom 2/3. Our next step is to put in the jaw. I establish my chin line and then draw 2 lines coming down. From here, I'm going to connect the chin to the jaw. So there's a slight change in the direction of the jaw. What I do is when I'm looking at my model, whoever it is that I'm drawing, I'm going to put my pencil up against their chin. I'm going to look through one eye and look to see roughly where that is. By doing that, I'm doing this at a distance and looking to see where the line lines up. I can then translate that line directly to here. My next step is to place the ears. Ears take on many shapes, but their basic form is kind of a triangle coming down, and then it closes off right about here and here, and then it closes off right about here. So there's the lobe of the ear. So once I have that basic shape, I can start to determine some of the other features of the head. From the very top of this ear over here and into the chin, we're going to pull this line down. And we're going to do the same on the other side. That tells us where the side of the face lives. From the bottom of the ear going up into right about where that line stops, I'm going to draw a half circle up. It's more like a quarter circle. This also is the side planes of the head. My next stage is to identify each of the planes of the head, major planes of the head. So I'm just going to give a little bit of color here. There's your side plane. Here's your front plane, and here's your other side plane. Okay, this is what I want for all of you beginners to work on at home. Once you have mastered this, here's the next level. I'm drawing a line across the head that should be roughly halfway through the head. That line is eventually going to become our eye line. I'm also going to draw a line halfway between the top of the nose and the chin. Needs to be just a little bit lower. That's the very bottom of the lip. Okay, the next stage is for us to add structure. As I look at my model, I see that there is an indentation on each side indicating the socket of the eye. Then curving a line from one side to the other is basically the overhang of the brow bone. Now, imagine a ball right here. That ball is basically the flat part of your forehead. It's pretty flat rolling across here. It then turns and becomes a quarter plane, and then here is where it becomes a side plane. Now I'm going to drop into the nose. The way I figure out the nose is, the formula is you need to be able to fit one eye, two eyes, 3, 4, and 5 eyes. So as long as your head is 5 eyes wide, then you'll be fine. So this tells me that approximately, here's one eye, here's 2 eyes, and 1 eye width apart. I'm basically right where I need to be. The next thing I'm going to do is indicate the mouth. I'm going to draw a line coming down that goes directly into the chin. Here's another line coming down that goes directly into the chin. Then I'm going to draw a line going across that indicates the middle of the mouth, and then another line rolling across this way. This space right here is a very common thing to indicate, which is right between the nose and the lips. And the same pattern follows here when you're drawing your lips. Right here where this line breaks, you just extend your line slightly and then pull up, and that will eventually become your mouth. For now, this is just basically a placeholder. Below that is your chin, which is basically a flattened ball. Next, we're going to indicate features of the nose. So I basically draw an hourglass shape that indicates the side planes of the nose, and then a line that goes across here to indicate the underplane. Then if you stick a little ball right here, that will indicate the very front of the nose. And I use that to eventually figure out roughly where my nostrils are, where things might tuck in. But I'm getting ahead of myself on that. For now, it's best to just shade it in. Next are the socket of the eyes. So I'm just going to lightly indicate what the brow line looks like. So I'm just dropping this line slightly and shading this all in. Same thing here. The last thing I'm going to shade in is this upper lip and some of this area here below. And that's it. That's where I want you to stop. The face is extremely complicated, but this basic format is what I've seen help students the most. Okay, so let's talk about this. There are many different methods to drawing the head. There's the Loomis method, the Reilly method, a whole slew of other methods, and this method in particular is something that I concocted that helps me develop the head best. I find that the Loomis method is probably the most helpful. You can look that up online. There are thousands of videos on it. The Reilly method is also very good, but this is the most simplified version that I have. So what this is a basic underlying structure of the head and the features of the face. Then later in our next episode, what we'll basically do is show you how those features apply and how to adjust the face accordingly. Learning how to draw the head takes a lot of time, and it's probably one of the hardest things to do. But if you draw the head correctly and practice it over and over and over again, you'll slowly become an expert. I have a lot of portraits that I've done over the years, and all of them took a lot of practice and a lot of time trying to get right. Do not expect a likeness to your faces in the early stages. That's going to take a while until you finally get them. But what you want to do is develop really good structure. The best advice I could give to anyone who's learning how to draw the head is to draw something that looks human first. That's the most important thing. First get a human head figured out, then try to make it look like the person you're trying to draw. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to learn this technique. I know that it's very challenging, but watching the video over and over again and practicing at home is going to make all the difference in the world. Feel free to give us any comments if you have any questions. Please like this video and share it with your friends, and please subscribe for more information. Thanks a lot.